Howdy all, lovely to see you all again. Today we're going to be looking at the delicious solo from Bad Company by Five Finger Death Punch. Not a big fan of the band, but how sick is Jason Hook? My goodness. Anyway, I'll stop talking about my man crush. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so before we get too excited, we just need to talk about the tuning. We're in B standard, which goes B, E, A, D, F sharp, and another B. So get yourself in tune, and we'll get started. Alright guys, let's have a look at the first section. I'm going to start off with this phrase. Starting off with a slide into 12 of the second string, and then I go to the flat finger from 12 of the first, back to 12 of the second. At the end of that, 15 of the second string, then I work into this phrase. I've got to slide into 16 of the third string. You can slide from 14 if you wisheth be, and then I'm going to 13 of the second after that. After that, I've got one more slide to 16, so to go. This is what we should have thus far from the start. And I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. Nice and bluesy here. What I'm doing here, bending in and out from 14 of the third string, pulling off to 12, and then jumping to 14 of the fourth. From that point, I'm doing sort of a rolling thing here. I'm playing 14 of the third into 14 of the fourth. Then I want to play 12, 14 on the third string, and then go back to 12 for a whole step bend. Now you'll notice that I swap to my middle, because trying to do a whole step bend with your pointer finger can be a bit of a pain, and it's easy to control with that middle finger. So we've got, that's the new addition chunk to what we've got. So let's go right back to the start, look what we've got thus far, and then we'll keep going. Hopefully that's all making sense. Then I work into this phrase. Alright, so what I've got at the front of this is a quick sort of rolling little legato idea, I guess. I'm playing 11, 12, 14 on the fourth string all in one pick. Then I go, what I'm doing here is kind of pedaling off that 14th fret of the fourth string, and I want to play 11 of the third, back to the 14 of the fourth, 12 of the third, back to 14 of the fourth, and then 14 of the third, back to 14 of the fourth. Altogether, that's going to sound like this. At the end of that, we're kind of returning back to that initial idea. I'm playing 12 of the third string, then bending 14. Then at the end of that, I've got that flat finger roll that we had right back at the start. I'm going to be playing the second, first, and second from fret 12. So we've got... Let's have a look at what we've got thus far from the start, and then we'll have a look at the second half of this section. At the end of that, another bend from 15, and then I'm going to borrow that slidey phrase, sliding into 16, playing 13, and then sliding into 16 again. Then we're going to borrow this whole phrase again as well. That's all exactly the same, and then we work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I've got a chromatic roll playing 12, 13, 14 on the fourth string. I'm only plucking that once, so it's sort of a hammer-on roll thing there. At that point, I'm going to play 12 of the third into 14 of the fourth, 14 of the third into 14 of the fourth, so I'm sort of pedaling off that one note. At the end of that, passing through that cheeky major third, I'm playing 12, 13 on the third string, jumping to 14 of the fourth. Play that phrase one more time a bit slower. And that's all of the first section. I'll play it again at a gentleman's pace, and then we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, let's have a look at the second section. This has got the crazy little shred from 24th fret right up here. I do believe live Jason might actually play this on a double neck guitar, and one of them's in D standard for some reason, so he might not be up as high. There's a little bit of a bitch to play, but if you're like me and you don't have a double neck guitar and you want to commit to B standard throughout the whole song, we're going to be doing this from 24. So it starts off with this. Let's slow that down. So all of this is taking place, at least this little chunk of the shred lick, between 24th, 19th, and 20 of the first and second string. So I'm going to start off with this. Playing 24 on the first string, 19, 20 after that. Jumping to 24 of the second string. Then at that point, I'm going to play 19 of the first string again, and then play 20 to 24 on the second. At the end of that, resolving back to 19 of the first string. One thing you will notice with this is that I'm just sort of going like this. What I mean by that is that I'm just playing pinky, pointer, middle, pinky, pointer, middle. The way that your fingers roll during this whole lick is exactly the same. Pointer, middle, pinky, pointer, middle, pinky, pointer, middle, pinky, pointer, middle. If that kind of makes sense, it's just rolling like this. You'll see what I mean as we go through it. So this is what we should have thus far from the start. Then from that point, I'm going to be playing 20 to 24, and then 19, 20. Then from that point, I'm playing 24 of the second string, back to 19 of the first, and then 20 to 24 on the second again. So to go all together from the start now. And as I said, I'm just rolling pinky, pointer, middle, pinky, pointer, middle, pinky, pointer, middle till I get to the end of those two bars. Then from that point, similar idea, but I'm in sort of a bit more of a closer diatonic scale shape. It does feel a little bit maiden-y here as well. A little bit on the Iron Maiden side. Let's slow that down. I'm going to start now from 19 of the first string, but I'm going to play 19, 20, 22. I do that again, but this time the 22 is going to be on the second string. So I'm going to play 19, 20 on the first, 22 of the second all together. Then from that point, I'm going to play 19 of the first, 20 on the second, 22 on the second as well. So once again, we're kind of just working with that rolling motif. I just happen to be changing strings every so often. At the end of that, I'm going to be playing 19, 20 on the second, playing 21 of the third, and then repeating that again. Let's go from the start of that chunk. Let's go right back to the start of the section, look at what we've got, and then we'll add the last half to it and put it all together. Hopefully that makes sense. Then I work into this phrase. Classic Jason Hook kind of phrasing here. I'm going from 19 of the third to 21 of the fourth string. Then I go playing 19 of the third, 21 of the fourth, 21 of the third, 21 of the fourth. So I'm pedaling off that 21 again. At the end of that, I'm going to play 19, 20 again on the third string, then bend from the 19. So all together. Okay, then I work into this phrase. Kind of back in the E minor pentatonic shape. Goes into a pretty cool lick after that. Sliding into 12 of the second string. Play 12 of the first, back to 12 of the second. At the end of that, playing 15 of the second into 14 of the third. Then it goes into this. Very Jason Hooky once again. So I'm playing 12 of the second string. Then I want to play 14, 15, back to 12 on the second string. So to go 14, 15 on the third string. Then from that point, just going down the blues scale, 15, 14, 12 on the third, 14 of the fourth. All together. And we've got, let's slow that down, rolling 14 of the third string into 14 of the fourth. Then I want to play 12, 14 on the third string, bending from 12 of the fourth. So it'll go. Let's try that whole phrase nice and slow. If you want to as well, I have noticed there's a subtle nuance on the album or the recorded version. It kind of slightly bends that 14. So if you want to add that in for extra sexy phrasing, please do. It is just quite fast when you're doing it in the grand scheme of things. So you can leave it out or chuck it in. It doesn't make too much of a difference. That's all of the second section. Let's play it again at a gentleman's pace and then again even slow with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, last section. This is relatively short. It just has that crazy arpeggio at the end. So we're going to start off with this. Starting off with a slide into 12 of the second string, playing 12 of the first, back to 12 of the second. And then I've got a bend from 15 of the first. And I go into this phrase. Pretty strange. It feels a little bit weird kind of trying to sustain those. It isn't a snug area of the fretboard. As I said, I do believe he plays it in D standard life, so it would be a little bit lower and less offensive to play. Alas, we're going to be sliding into 19 of the third. Then I play 20 of the second, back to 19 of the third. Then from that point, I'm doing a bend from 22 of the second, playing 20 of the first. And then from that pre-bend on the second string, you can kind of hit that again and give that some vibrato. So really slowly. And that's half of this chunk. So we'll go right back to the start, put together what we've got, and then we'll have a look at that arpeggio. Okay, let's have a look at this arpeggio. It's kind of like a cross between, I guess, an E minor and a G major arpeggio. I'm going to start off with this. So after I've done that initial hammer on, I'm sort of playing 19 to 22. And if I was in standard tuning, I'd basically be playing like a G major triad arpeggio because I'm playing 22, 21, 19, 20, and then I'm playing 19 again. So it's not like a straight E minor triad. It's sort of got a bit of a 7th sound to it, or even a G major triad with it as well. At the end of that, what I'm doing here is I'm playing 24, 22, 19 on the first string, and then playing 22 of the second. At the end of that, just working straight up the scale, 19, 20, 22 on the second and the first string. At the end of that, 23, 24, I vibrato those, give them some sexiness before the solo finishes. So let's work through that arpeggio with a little shred in those last two notes. We'll put the whole thing together after that. All right, let's go right back to the start now. One more time with some tabs. And that was the solo from Bad Company by Five Finger Death Punch. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And please click the links in the description box to join up with my Patreon to get tabs to this lesson and anything else that I do. There's a bunch of other cool bonus content that happens to slip in there every now and then. Also have 3 books out that I want to share with you. Ultimate Shred Machine if you want to up your chops in shredding, sweeping, legato, and tapping. My second book, Rock Guitar Mode Mastery, if you want to up your understanding of the 7 modes in an improvised and composed context. And of course, my most recent book, Shred Guitar Improvisation, teaching you about chord targeting, different sequences, all of that funky jazz to improvise and write cool solos. And if you want all 3 of them at the same time, I've got them in one definitive volume. If you're not much of a reader, I do have them in a video course format on Udemy and chrissuper.com as well. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. I'll catch you all very soon.